There is a difference between living alone and being alone. Many people use those words like they mean the same thing. Actually, they don't. Living alone is a circumstance. It's the apartment with your name on the lease. The fridge stocked exactly how you like it. The remote that never gets argued over. The mornings that belong entirely to you. Being alone is something else entirely. Being alone is a feeling. And the most painful truth about it, you can feel it just as deeply in a relationship, in a family home, in a crowded room full of people who love you. This video is about that difference, about the people who live alone and have never felt more free, and the people surrounded by others who have never felt more invisible, about what loneliness actually is and why we keep misunderstanding it. Let's talk about living alone first, because the world has a story about it. The story goes like this: living alone is something you endure until real life begins, until the relationships, the family, the full house. Living alone is the waiting room. But anyone who has truly lived alone, really lived alone, not just survived it, knows something different. There is a particular kind of peace in a home that is entirely yours, where the silence is chosen, not imposed, where you eat when you're hungry and not on a schedule, where you can fall apart without performing recovery for anyone, where you can become yourself without an audience. Living alone when you make peace with it is one of the most clarifying experiences a person can have. You learn what you actually like, not what you agree to like. But then there are other moments, the ones nobody posts about. The Tuesday evening when something good happens, a promotion, a phone call, a moment of pure joy, and there is no one in the apartment to tell. The Saturday night when everyone seems to be somewhere and you are here, just here. The small injury that makes you realize there is no one to bring you water. The 2 a.m. spiral with no voice to interrupt it. That's when living alone and being alone start to blur together. And that blur is where the real pain lives. Now let's talk about the other side. The person who has everything the lonely person thinks they want. The relationships, the family, the full table at dinner. And still feels a loneliness so deep it confuses them. How can I be this surrounded and feel this unseen? Because there is what loneliness actually is. It is not the absence of people, it is not the absence of connection. Real connection, the kind where you say the true thing, not the acceptable thing, and someone meets you there. You can have 100 people in your life, and not one of them knows what's actually happening inside you. You can share a bed with someone for 10 years and still feel like a stranger to them. That is being alone. That is a loneliness nobody warns you about, because it doesn't look like loneliness from the outside. We were never taught the difference. We were never taught that the cure for loneliness is people. Get a partner, build a family, fill your calendar. But you cannot cure a feeling of disconnection by simply adding more people to a life where you don't feel seen. It doesn't work like that. The loneliest people I know are not the ones living alone. They are the ones performing connection but starving for it. And the least lonely people I know, some of them live completely alone because they have learned something that takes most of us a lifetime. That real connection has nothing to do with proximity. It's about being known, being heard, having even one person in the world who gets the unedited version of you. One real conversation is worth more than 100 surfaces ones. If you live alone and love it, that is not something to apologize for. You're not broken, you're not waiting, you're not a story that hasn't started yet. Your life is happening right now, in that apartment, in that silence, the freedom you have built for yourself. And if you're surrounded by people and still feel utterly alone, I want you to know that it is one of the most common and least spoken about human experiences. You're not ungrateful, you're not dramatic, you're simply hungry for something real, and that hunger is valid. The goal was never to not to be alone. The goal was always to feel less alone. And sometimes That begins not by finding more people, but by letting one person finally see you. Living alone is a room, being alone is a feeling, and feelings, unlike rooms, can always change.